I don't know. There seems like there's a hole out there in information and infotainment where people talk about this kind of stuff. You know, there's no Andy Griffith Show anymore. Where do people talk about what seems like normal stuff to us? I don't know.
You're listening to Barbell Logic, brought to you by Barbell Logic Online Coaching, where each week we take a systematic walk through strength training and the refining power of voluntary hardship.
Welcome to the Barbell Logic podcast. I'm Scott Hambrick, and Matt is here with me as he always is. And today we have Rachel Reynolds and Charity Hambrick with us for the Wives Cut 2. We had them on the show in episode number 16, almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And after we'd been doing the show for, 8 months or something like that, I told my oldest kid, I had some transcriptions made, and they're just crappy.
Yeah.
You know, like all kinds of errors in there, and they don't know who's talking. So I told my oldest daughter, hey, go through here and make them readable. You recognize the voices, label them. Matt says, Scott says. Well, and she came to me. She's like, Dad, I'm not going to do this one. I'm not going to do this one. So go listen to that for the first time. For the first time they were with us. This is also going to be our 200th episode and our birthday episode. It just so happens that 200 comes on our birthday here.
It's true. Amazing, huh? Happy 4th of July to everybody.
It's ridiculous.
Nice. Right?
So
much has changed.
A whole
since
bunch.
Wives Cut number 1 or since episode number 1, that's for sure. Much has changed.
Yeah, we have new music. So Trent, like the music that you just heard, Trent wrote that and recorded that for us and replaced the sound logo that we had bought when we first kicked off the show. We paid, $15 for that or something like that. And the recording quality is not very good. And Trent, being the perfectionist that he is, he says, I can't make this sound good. I'm like, well, what are we going to do? He's like, oh, I got it. And he wrote this music that we've now got. I don't know what episode that showed up. Probably around 50.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Something like that. So this isn't the music you just heard. If you're a new listener, ain't the music we had at the beginning 2 years ago.
I listened to those original episodes not long ago, and I remember thinking when they first came out how good the sound quality was.
Right.
And in fact, it's not good. Now, Trent was not the producer for those early episodes, so Trent has really bumped up the sound quality for us for sure. So, yeah, much has changed in general with life even for us.
That was producer Alan. Let's put him on blast.
Great job, Alan.
Yeah, producer
He's
Alan.
not, let's be honest, Alan is not a listener of the show, I would bet.
No, he's probably not.
You tried to red pill him, and it was part of that. It was kind of that stress recovery adaptation. I think you had actually just killed him. You tried to just red pill Alan, and he died.
He didn't make it, but we're glad to have Trent now. So the show sounds better. We don't use the same mics. We don't use the same equipment.
By the way, we're actually here in person, so we should probably say, a lot of you guys might not know that Scott and I typically record these now in 2 separate locations. I've got my own recording equipment. Scott has his. We both record our own tracks and send those to Trent. He syncs them up, posts them, but we're actually here at Casa de Hambrick in your new office. Mm-hmm. Since you haven't mentioned yet on the show that you sold data storage.
Tomorrow, it ain't. Sorry, guys, it's not the July 4th for us yet.
Right.
Tomorrow is 6 months ago that closed.
In 6 months. Retired, semi-retired.
Yeah, overscheduled.
Overscheduled.
Really, I'm busy all the goddamn time. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
We've got to put a stop to it. And we have our wives here today.
Yep.
We should probably mention that I think this show is going to be sponsored by Fleo.
Brought to you by Fleo Shorts.
Yeah. And so, girls, one of the reasons you're on the show is, what do you think?
I'm a Fleo girl. Yes, I have a problem. But I've been wearing them probably, Scott, 3 years? 2 or 3 years consistently.
No, I don't really measure it like that. You've been married.
How did you get into them?
She's with butter.
No. I'm just saying,
Where did I find
did
them?
you just, on Instagram?
I think it was Instagram.
Yeah.
It was Instagram. I follow some, stars of the CrossFit world, and they wore them. And so I'm like, I got to have those. And I bought them. And I'm still wearing them. They're probably the best thing. I've tried cheaper models, ladies. They're not as good. I wish they were. And they're not. When I say cheaper, they may be like $5. They're all going to be between $32 and $44 a pair. And if some of their specials that they do with athletes or they do with other companies, they kind of pair up and do some fun stuff. They'll run a little bit more, but every pair is worth it. You're not getting less for the 30 as you are for the 50.
Yeah. So Charity tells me that the difference is it's like not just the fit, but their fabric is better than anybody else's, and they make their own fabric. They have their own fabric manufactured.
U.S. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting that you guys are on opposite ends of the spectrum here. Where Charity, you've been a long time. You've been wearing these. You've been wearing Fleo for a long time. Rachel never had. And so Fleo sent us some shorts and some pants.
Thank you, Fleo.
Yeah, I appreciate.
What are the name of what are the pants?
Okay, so I got the Power High Rise that has the 4-inch inseam and the 4-inch like high waist.
Those are your shorts.
Those are my shorts, right. Yeah. And so I got 2 pairs of those, and I really like those. And then they sent another pair of just I think it's the original 3.25, and I really like those too. But I really like the leggings. The leggings are like buttery, smooth fabric, and they're the El Toro.
All right, El
yes.
Toros.
Yeah.
Yes, and can confirm on the buttery. Confirm on the buttery. Yeah.
So it's Rachel has always been a Lulu girl,
I love Lulu.
and she got these leggings from Fleo, and she was like,
I think I wore them like 5 days straight.
She hasn't worn the Lulu leggings since she's owned the Fleos.
I've never been a fan of Lulu leggings. I've tried. I'm like, my ass needs to look like $1 million, and I turn around and it doesn't. So they don't get 110.
Well, I mean, Lulu's got a reputation for making your butt look good.
No.
But here's what I know. Was it your PR squat video a couple weeks ago?
Right.
What was it? Was it your squat?
It was a squat, yeah.
So I think you can go to Scott's Instagram and see his PR squat video. And just as he's about halfway down in the squat, Charity's rear end steps in front of that camera. So I think not on purpose, but it might have just been
It was not on
It was
it might have
not
been a
on purpose.
pre-commercial for.
Right.
We were actually that's why we got that's why Fleo sponsored the show now, is because of that video. But no, you can see it. Listen, they make you look great, but they feel great. Rachel's bragged on them the whole time she's had them.
They're functional.
You've
It's a
bragged on 'em.
functional fit.
Charity says that they you squat, but they stay in place. They don't go where they shouldn't go.
Right.
And that's why she wears them.
And I'm a little thicker between
What?
the legs. So my legs rub together a lot, and my Lulus tend to pill up a bunch. And so far, and I've only had these for a month, and they aren't pilling up or anything.
Charity's had some that she's had for years. She collects them like Beanie Babies. There's like all of them.
Hey, when they put all those cool fabric
They
patterns,
have their
and
own little cart in my closet. Like they now
It's
have
a
their own
cult.
space.
So
They don't mingle.
they make some shorts that like they'll do a special release for like
4th of
Jackie
July.
Perez. They did her Sailor Mouth ones. Rachel doesn't like Jackie. Look at her. Yeah, and I want some for Charity. They have cornbread on them.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that's what I want. The cornbread Fleo shorts. Yeah,
Like some Oklahoma
Yeah.
Fleos.
do they take special requests? Is that
we'll call them the corn muffin.
Yeah,
The Charity Hambrick Fleo shorts.
One of the things I like that they do, I actually wish that we could get some guys shorts like this, is that you can go low rise, high rise, long leg, medium leg, short leg, length, and so they're all like the same shorts, and you can just decide. So based on what your body type, you're like, if I want to wear them a higher waisted short, you can wear them, or a low waisted short. So I've noticed Charity wears low waisted shorty legs, so like the least possible amount of fabric. Is that true?
not always.
Okay, but that's
Today, yes.
And my wife would be more like higher waisted, medium leg, right? Is that probably fair?
yeah? Otherwise, I eat them.
They have
Eat some.
Wow.
they have a contour short, and those do. I mean, ladies, if you don't want them snugging up around your cheeks, you don't want to get those. But they look great because they have a wonderful seam that makes a curve on your backside, so it makes your buns look nice. But they are not for a newbie, I wouldn't say.
Do you think they'd make our total go up if we wore them?
If you and I wore like the women's Fleo shorts, would
Possibly.
our totals go up?
possibly,
know.
it's worth an extra 5 or 10 pounds for sure.
I bet I'd look good in a pair of
That's
those.
not what I said. Because I don't care what I look like. I'm just talking about my total.
Oh, okay.
This reminds me of the time when my underwear accidentally ended up in your underwear basket.
This is not a story we need to tell.
Oh, what happened? Could you get a leg in them?
Did you put them on?
Listen, I rocked those motherfuckers.
Oh, my.
I was like,
He
these were in
slipped them
my
right
underwear
on. He
basket.
goes,
I'm not sure what.
I'm committed.
They were the kind that had like the two pieces on
They're
the side.
Victoria's Secret.
There was a little like peekaboo hole on the side.
Did you pull the upper part and like put it over your shoulder like suspenders?
They're my new singlet. I'm gonna lift in those. That didn't actually happen.
Well, let's
That's
talk
an
about
alleged
that.
story.
They have shorts, they have pants, but they also have singlets. I own one.
Oh yeah, you worn their
Yeah,
singlet.
Nikki has
Yeah,
one
last
too.
Their
time I-
doesn't
singlets
she?
are super nice.
They're very
Yeah,
nice.
they're
My
really
last
cute.
national meet, I wore that singlet, and it worked out great.
I think Nikki wears a fleece.
Yeah.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
Yep.
She does. She has the burgundy one, and I have the navy one.
Yeah.
I've never been disappointed with anything that I've bought from that company.
Good.
The shipping is good. The customer service is good.
Came really fast.
Yep.
Yeah. By the way, we since like 99% of our listeners are men, guys.
Yeah, get them for your wife.
Yeah, go buy
Christmas,
these for
birthday,
your
it's
wife.
perfect.
They're just like they're great. Like this time of year, it's hot. They're comfortable. You know, you're not keep your wife from getting swamp ass. Buy her some nice shorts.
Yeah, so what is different about this show now after 200 episodes? We
Man.
already talked about the music. The sound quality seems to go up. I hope that it continues to go up.
I mean, I think you and I have figured out our back and forth really well. We've kind of come into our own. I think if you go back and listen to those early episodes of us, or if you listen to shows that are far more popular than us, if you listen to like Brett McKay and Art of Manliness or Tim Ferriss or Joe Rogan, that it's just it takes a while to really get into the groove. And I don't know that we hit our groove until probably 6 months ago.
Yeah,
You think that's fair to say?
Maybe I think it's gotten better in the
I hope it's
last
gotten
6
better.
months. Yeah.
Well, our numbers show that. So it's, again, one of the things that's been crazy for us is when we were first recording this thing, we had 14 people listen to it. And to think that we've got a couple 100,000 listen to it now, it's like it should be terrifying. It's actually really cool. It's a big honor that people let us into their home every week and send out, all these emails and say nice things about us. And it's been really, really
and
cool.
bad things.
And bad things. But like but if you think about the percentage of nice things that are said versus the percentage of mean things that are said, I mean, we've got a lot more nice things that are said.
Oh,
And
certainly.
there's a lot more people listening. So, the show has changed quite a bit. But I think even more than that, like I think we've changed quite a bit. I think our lives have changed, right? And so the ladies can speak to that too. Like, Charity, how different is it? For the first year and a half of this show, your husband got up every day and went to work. And now your husband is at home working from here. So it's
Maybe you shouldn't have asked that question.
well, I mean, it's just life is
ahead.
just different. What's it like? How's
No,
life changed the last 2 years?
It's different. Probably the first, maybe 90 days. Let's say the first 90 days, it was a little rough because I was used to just doing what I wanted to do,
Which is
which
sometimes
is
nothing.
sometimes nothing. Exactly. It's most of
having
the time at the pool, period, and literally doing nothing. And if I'm not doing that, then I'm having to train because I am consistent with that. But it was a little rough. He's like, "Where's lunch?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" Because sometimes I won't eat lunch. But now I just make him lunch.
Yeah, to be clear, I don't make her fix
No.
my lunch, but I'm like, what are we going to have for lunch?
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not eating.
It was just weird.
Right.
I have 2 teenage daughters now, and they don't care if I make lunch or not. They just do whatever they're going to do. So now I just make lunch and make sure he has snacks. I'm the feeder. I am the feeder.
Yeah, I probably gained 20 pounds in the first 4 months, and it's been coming off. So I don't walk as much as I did.
It's my love language.
But you've said a lot of PRs too.
I have.
And it wasn't in the getting fat stage. It was actually in the post stage.
Yeah.
Like it's over in the last few months. So we went through that same process after I sold Strong and started working from home doing online coaching. And we were homeschooling at the time, and our kids are a little younger than your kids. And of course, 3 years ago, our kids were even younger. And so I thought, well, how hard can it be? I'll just work at the dining room table while they're doing school. And yeah, it's mind-boggling to
Rachel's
think that I
laughing.
even thought that, like how ridiculous that was. And but I had this idea in my head because I got up at 4:30 every morning and went to the gym and didn't see them do homeschool. I thought, well, they sit down and they're quiet and they do their homework and everybody's working quietly and
We'll all work together.
we'll just everybody at work be like, like cubicles and stuff. And then I was like, oh, no, they don't do shit. They just like argue half the time and they throw pencils at each other and like, just they're constantly distracted. And I wanted to kill everybody. So I was like, I'm building an office downstairs. And so that's what I did. And same thing, 90 day sort of get to know you period again. And we did fine. Now we've moved into the new house. So we've lived in the same house for 10 years. We bought a home. It's not a new home. It's a new home to us. And my office is inside the front. It's one of those very traditional colonial style. It's a Georgian colonial. And so you walk in the front door, my office is on the left side of the door and the dining room's on the right side. And my office doesn't have any doors. And so that's been a little bit interesting. So from like 5 a.m, so I'm doing calls all day, doing podcasts all day. And, it's the noise of the home is everywhere. So we're working that out. We're going to have to get some French doors put in, I think.
Yeah. Oh, and I love it. I love having you home. It's been a great transition that way. But with the new house, the sound travels right up the stairs, which is where all of our bedrooms are. And so it's like a tunnel right to where, everybody can hear everything you're saying and doing. So.
Yeah, I yell a lot. Yeah. So, it goes out in the rest of the house.
I've got that library.
Oh, yeah. Evan is often in here when I record.
Yeah.
I start like banging on the desk and yelling, and she jumps.
She's got like her earphones on, so so it actually takes like she doesn't hear anything below a certain decibel level, and then you just crank it and it startles her. Yeah. So you're working from home. I'm working from home. The ladies are training. You're training hard, Charity. You're hitting PRs like crazy.
Got a meet coming up.
No injuries. That's good. I'll take it.
Yep.
You want to tell people what your PRs today are, Charity Michelle?
No, I don't.
How about your big press PR?
You don't want to let that out there for your competitors at nationals.
That's true. They don't need to know all of it. But
the press is on your Instagram.
That's true. Look, I don't give a shit. Listen, let's just say easily I throw 150 around.
Did you say easy? Let's just say easily I throw 150 around.
I do.
With the press.
I would say that Scott doesn't easily throw 150 around.
I do.
What are you going to do if she outpresses
I know that
you
sounds
one day?
so.
She's not going to.
That sounds so shitty, but I've worked really, really hard, and I thought 150 would be like the end of my days in the gym. So I'm pretty happy.
So tell me about you had a big press PR. Was that last week, 10 days ago, somewhere in there?
Gosh, every week.
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
I know, but you hit what'd you hit, 152 and a half?
152 and a half. It was good.
She could have, she definitely could have got 2. She might have gotten 3.
I was trying to be good and stay with the program.
If the house was on fire,
Right.
she might have got 3.
Hey, let's talk about the coaching change, because I think that's actually an important point we haven't talked about yet. So, I have coached you since November of 15. Is that right? October of 15,
right.
somewhere in there.
I think that's right.
And
I looked the other day.
It's been a long time. I mean, it was 3.5 years so far, and I'm the only coach you've ever had, I think, other than having Scott coach you a little bit in the outside.
That's true.
And I started thinking. I talked to Scott. This has been how long have you been with Andrew now? Maybe
30
2 months.
days?
30 days.
60 days?
I was going to say 2 months probably. And so Andrew had just come on. Andrew Jackson, your coach now, as a VP at Barbell Logic, and I said, man, I've been coaching Charity for 3.5 years, and she just got a few things I can't seem to fix anymore. And I've seen thousands and thousands and thousands of your reps of every single lift, and I think it is difficult for a lot of coaches, and often the relationship between the coach and the client is you're so close that it feels like such a strange thing to potentially pass them off. I said, hey, I talked to you and I talked to Andrew. I said, what do you think about looking at Charity stuff for like 30 days? And let's just see if you can see some things that I'm not seeing or use different cues or whatever. And then if it works out great, he can keep coaching you. And if not, it's okay. I'll take you back. And so it wasn't an issue of anything that was wrong in our coaching. It was just, I think there are times just like you'll see a coach in the NFL that coaches the same team for years, and sometimes some fresh blood needs to be brought in for fresh eyes. And so we brought Andrew in, who's a great coach, and he started to give you a few different cues than I had given you in the past. And man, your training's just flourished with him over the last 60 days.
It's good.
I think it was going to be probation, and then she's like, I don't think I need to give Andrew back.
Yeah, man, I think the thing that we're learning there at BLOC is that that's something that probably there is a lifespan often to a client coach connection. Now, there's some caveats there, right? So with a guy like Brett, I'm coaching Brett. Brett doesn't have any form problems. Brett is there. Like, I think I'm basically Brett's. I program for Brett, and I've figured out his programming, but I'm basically there for accountability. I think there's days when Brett's busy and he doesn't want to go out to the gym and turn his camera on and video himself. And he's like, man, I'm going to hear from Reynolds if I don't. And it's an accountability thing. And for Charity, there were still some form things. I was like, man, I can't quite fix the form on the squat, specifically on the squat. I can't quite fix the form on the squat. I've tried, and I've used this cue, and I've used this cue, and I need to be, I shouldn't be so prideful to say that somebody else can't come in and see this a little different or give some different cues and work. And man, it's worked great. So I think that we have to remember that as coaches at BLOC, when you have a client for a long time, it's fresh eyes it's good for everybody. It's good for the client. It's good for the coach.
I've got one that I've looked at, a client that I've looked at so many times, I almost can't see it anymore. Yeah. Like, it's just become normal. What he does has become normal, and some of it needs to be fixed. And he and I have worked really hard to fix his knee slide is what it is.
And you've said it 4 million times.
In every way I know how.
Yeah.
You know, I've had Bill Hannon look at him for short periods, but I was talking to this guy earlier this week, and I'm going to find someone I can swap with. I'll take one of their kind of clients where they've got, you know, like a stale, they've got, you know, a stale coaching eye for, and we'll swap up, and everybody should be better off. Charity was a little bit nervous about it, but it's gone really well, and she's gotten tons of PRs. Your strength lifting total has gone up 60 pounds in the last 60 days.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch
huge deal
for somebody that's trained as long as you
huge
have.
deal.
How
How about your training? You're back at it.
I am.
And kind of excited about it, I think.
Yeah.
Why? What's changed?
I have a friend that I'm training with, and
What is the sex of this friend?
this is a lady.
Yes. Okay. Let's make sure. She doesn't have any
female.
boyfriend she's training with.
No, I have a friend that I homeschool with, and she's always been really interested in strength training, and kind of got into training last summer. And so we meet with each other 3 times a week, and I coach her. I'm not like certified to train,
She's a hell of a
but
She'll be
I
fine.
absorbed a lot over the years, and she's been doing really well. So it's fun. I think having that accountability. I think I've talked about it before when I did CrossFit classes, that when you have somebody to train with, and they're going to be there, and so you need to be there too. And it's been a lot of fun. Back on the beginning, so on novice progression, but
Yeah, it's fine. You're making progress. Everything will work out. And
When did you start LP again? How long?
probably a month ago.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you got 7 more weeks. You'll hit PRs probably on probably everything.
We'll see. I had some pretty huge PRs in the past, but I don't know.
Almost everybody gets those 5-rep PRs out of it when they do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus some.
I'm going to ask a little bit of a loaded question here, but how much do you think with both of your training would it be fair to say that life is not super stressful right now, or is it just as stressful as it's always been? Do you feel like there's some impact there?
The only real stress in my life right now is Matt Reynolds
Yeah, that's fair.
and
Me too.
the stock market.
Yeah, that's in fact, I think my only stress is Matt Reynolds in my life. Man, I need training so bad. I don't know if you guys are like me. Like everybody knows we've gone through lots of stress over the last several months, and not just business stuff, the house stuff. My dad, I've talked about that. There's just stuff. It's just we're gonna go back and like,
terrible
damn, 2019 is crazy. What a crazy year. Like family and work and everything, but I need to train. We were talking about this yesterday. Scott hates training.
I think
He
so.
Doesn't like to train. Rachel
like
doesn't
training,
really
Charity?
like to train.
No, you don't like training.
Charity was
I
just
like to train. You like training?
I have to. Look, I'm not wired to do what I do if I didn't like it.
Yeah, I
I'd like to
actually
think
really
different, but
enjoy
I think I do.
training. Now there are lots of days where I'm busy or stressed and I don't want to go train. But then once I get out there, like I really enjoy the process of training.
There's lots of times I like to do it by myself.
Me too. I'm really
I don't need
enjoying
anybody.
Me
just
too.
Me.
And I've never been that way.
Charity,
No, me either. I'll just go out there and do my stuff. It's fine.
Charity was talking a while ago about the difference in clients that she has who either, well, what did you say? They like to train, or the ones that kind of take it for medicine?
Yeah, they have passion. There's like the passion trainer and then the medicine taker.
Yeah.
And the medicine taker, I'm so glad that they're doing it and they're smart enough to understand
So
they
why is
need
it
to.
medicine?
It's medicine because they know that the older they get, that their stuff is dying. Their bones are getting brittle, their muscles are getting smaller, and they want to continue a certain quality of life, right? Whatever that is for them. And that's one thing as a coach I think is important. I don't set that quality. They tell me what that quality is, and then we work toward that goal together. But the people that have passion, the passion people, they're the competitive people. And they're out there to swing the pendulum, like Reynolds talks about all the time, to the far side, and they're going to milk it. And if they're not competitors, they're competitive with themselves. So it's the same thing. They're going to drive it hard. And it's just two different animals in the gym when you're training people.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. The psychology, watching their brains when they're under a hard load, the difference, that really appeals to me. I think that's why I like to be a coach.
The people, the medicine takers, the prophylactic group, it's tough to coach.
Oh yeah.
Tough to coach.
Long term. Yeah, because it's even they will be fine in those first 6 weeks or so of LP, and then they start to get to that hard, from week 6 or 8 to week 12. Man, and you're encouraging as best as you can. We've talked about this on the podcast. There's no such thing as true external motivation. So you're just trying to be encouraging in the way you coach, and those people will that'll just go ape shit crazy on them. You have to rein them in sometimes. You got to chew their ass a little bit more. You don't often have to encourage them as much. You can kind of a little more drill sergeant, paramilitary coaching style. Whereas that person that you're just trying to spoonful of sugar to make the medicine go down.
Yeah, and programming in those cases is pretty difficult.
Yeah.
For the people that are doing it, as medicine, barbells as medicine, like Dr. Sullivan says.
Yeah.
So yesterday I was like, Matt, we need to go take some improv classes together.
Yeah.
And Matt Reynolds is like, nope, not going to do that.
Never.
Because we got to work on the yes ands, the not only that, but the agree and amplify, volley some shit back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Why not?
Get some comedy PRs. Come on, man.
I don't know. I don't think I could do an improv class.
What are you scared
Use the
of?
Santana approach.
Let's
And
talk
just try
about
to
it.
change one thing.
I'm actually scared of it.
Just change one thing.
What if we went and got private lessons?
I would do that.
I think we should do that.
I would do private improv
Who
lessons.
gives private improv?
Well, there's like an improv comedy troupe in Tulsa even, and you could go down there and be like, okay, here are these two guys in their extra large T-shirts and their cargo pants, and we want to do better pod. Help us out.
Is this something radio DJs do to work on like their?
Oh, I don't know, but they all suck.
Banter
It's
back
like
and
it's
forth.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's 74 degrees outside of 50 degrees. They
That's
fucking
not
suck,
always true.
But the ones that are good are great.
The ones that are good are great.
I mean, yeah. You
like
listen
Corolla did improv stuff for
Yeah,
years.
Corolla's
and years.
great.
He was at Groundlings, went to Groundlings, and Kimmel. There's a
Well, I
bunch of
mean,
those guys
yeah,
that done
how
that.
many of those guys, that's the thing. So many of those guys that became really famous stand-up comedians started doing improv.
Yeah.
And that's why everybody wants to get on SNL or a show like that, because and not that SNL is improv, but there is a lot of that too.
Sure.
Right.
Sure
I mean,
there
you've got it, and every week you're writing new skits for doing the thing. And so, man, I don't think my brain works that way very well.
I don't
That's why
like
we go
comedy.
train.
How about that? I'm not a big comedy person. There's probably
Stand up.
like stand up, yeah.
Okay.
Stand up comedians. But my favorite is Joey Diaz. Joey Diaz, if you listen
Diaz
to this
is one of the funniest
if
dudes
you
I've ever
listen to
heard
this
in my life.
podcast, I'm a super fan. You're hilarious.
We love stand-up comedians. However, I would say we only like about 1 in 20 we watch.
Sure.
19 out of 20 we turn off in the first 10 minutes.
you know who else I like? Joe Coy.
We got
Joe
free
Coy
tickets
is
to
funny.
go.
Joe Coy is
He came out
funny.
with a video the other day about his son. So he does some bits about his son in his stand-up.
Yes.
His
And his
poor
mom.
kid.
And then he just did a YouTube video where he forces his son, who's like 14 years old, to watch the bits he does about his son while the camera is on his son, and then he asks him about him. Like there's like masturbation jokes and stuff like that. So it's
Ting ting.
Tom Segura is maybe all those Segura, Diaz, Rogan, Ari Schaefer. Those guys are all kind of cut from Bert. What's Bert's last name?
Kreischer.
Kreischer.
Yeah, it's funny.
Those guys are all funny. They're funny.
We got free tickets to go see Joe Coy.
Oh, you saw him in person?
And so we went and saw him, and he said, I just left Hawaii. Dream come true. Get to come to Tulsa, Oklahoma from Hawaii. But he had filmed, I think it was a Netflix special, and he said that every time he films a Netflix special, he never does those jokes again. So he's like, I've got no material.
Yeah, you can't. What are you going to do?
I've got no material. This is my first show. Yesterday I finished the shooting. I have no material. So let's go, guys. And you could tell he
was doing some improv up
he
there.
Was all alone.
He was all
man.
testing out.
And there was he's like, wait a minute. And he would pace back and forth the stage. Okay, I got something. And he would do it. And he slayed.
That's cool.
And he was lost.
That's cool.
And he bombed a little bit, but the crowd was rooting for him while he was doing it.
Sure.
It was really great.
It's really, I mean,
Let's
think
go
maybe
do
that's
some
what it is,
improv
that
lessons.
improv stuff. You know what it is? It's okay. Here's what it is. Everybody knows. I think after 200 shows, people that have actually listened to us for a long time, they know I'm a very transparent guy. But you know what I'm not? Honestly, I'm not real vulnerable. Transparency doesn't feel vulnerable to me.
Right.
It doesn't feel, there's not a lot of scariness to my transparency. To me, it's just yeah, man, look, everybody's got their shit.
Right.
Everybody's got their
I
stuff.
like bidets.
I don't have any skeletons in my closet because I just go ahead and get all that shit out. It's not that big of a deal. But improv in front of people, that's vulnerable. Singing, if I had to get up and sing in front of a crowd and wasn't drunk, that would be, I can feel my blood pressure and my heart rate go up right now thinking about that stuff.
In the Grind episode, which I think is number 27, you do sing a little R. Kelly.
Yeah, you do.
That's true. That's true.
I did Toastmasters.
Listen, his life has changed a lot in the last 2 years. In fact,
Let's not go there.
Some improv, motherfucker.
Let's not go there.
I took Toastmaster. I did Toastmasters
You did.
for a number of years, and it was a big help. It was a big help. It has been a big help in doing this. I still have my filler words and could certainly do better. But before that, it was a lot worse. So it prepared me a great deal to be doing this. But I think improv's the next thing.
I used to do a lot of when you would talk.
Right.
Because I do that when I speak to somebody and just having a conversation. I'm trying to let them know, yes, I'm staying with you. I'm focused on what you're saying.
Yeah, that's appropriate in person.
But it's you get on that mic, and now we're really at an advantage with Trent, especially the way we do this now, where we record 2 separate tracks. So I still will occasionally or whatever, but Trent can just turn me off, and people they never hear that when he mixes it. So, did we just get mood lighting in here?
The sun just went by a cloud.
What do you think about the fact that we've become this? We started as a pure barbell-based podcast, and it was a systematic walk through strength training, and we started very novice, and we've mostly moved towards advanced sort of lifting, but we've really become a lifestyle podcast over the last year, and we've got all these Scott's philosophy of life. We talk about marriage and kids and Calvinism and finances and what do you think, man? Psychology and psychotherapy. And
Carl said the other day that he was going to start hashtagging me America's Dad.
America's Dad. Yeah. Well, maybe you could cast off the Jack Tank Hill then, and you could replace it with America's Dad. That'd be cool.
I don't know. There seems like there's a hole out there in information and infotainment where people talk about this kind of stuff. There's no Andy Griffith Show anymore. Yeah. I mean, where do people talk about what seems like normal stuff to us? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some good podcasts out there that are good lifestyle podcasts, and I think there's some decent fitness strength training podcasts out there. But I think one of the things that has resonated with our listeners is somehow we've seen this pattern recognition between the two. We see the connection between the two and been able to do both. Now, occasionally we get people that want us to shut the F up about the lifestyle stuff, but that's just who we are. How do you do 200 episodes and your personality doesn't come out
with no show prep?
With no show prep, and you sit down and talk about life. That's right. That's what we do. And barbell training is a huge part of our life. But our wives and our families, our homeschool education, and occasionally our religion, and even though we try to shove any of that stuff down people's throats, we still talk about why we think the way we do and the connections that we see in that lifestyle, and that those ideas of voluntary hardship that we've grasped onto over the past 18 months. It's a big part of who we are.
We don't prep, and it's on purpose.
Yeah.
We'll say, what are we going to talk about? And then we'll start to sort of talk through it, and I just stop the talk.
Let's hit
I'm
record.
okay, let's just hit record.
Yeah.
Because if we do that, then it's conversational. And and we can surprise each other.
Yeah.
And I think we end up with better pod that way. Yeah. And I don't know, it was about a year ago. We never talked about this in any sort of meeting or anything. I just decided that I never wanted to do prep.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't want to do it anyway because I'm too busy.
We keep a list of topics that we want to talk about.
But there's like one sentence, and that's
right.
it.
It's not even a sentence. It's just a bullet point. Right. That's if we were an interview show where we interviewed, like what Brett has to do. Brett interviews people. That's all he does. So the guy has to read book. I mean, he's got to read multiple books every week because he's constantly. That's kind of the main thing that Brett's, and that's what a lot of these interviews, interview-based podcasts are. You've got some guy that's released a new book. Okay, here's a guy that he's already had one New York Times bestseller. He's got a new book coming out. You got to read the book. So Brett's got to read a book before he interviews somebody.
My book group went on a little trip. We rented a cabin down in southeast Oklahoma and played cards and ate and just were guys together for a weekend. And Brett came and he says, I'm going to have to do a little bit of work. And he brought in this bag. It was Saturday. I think it was Saturday morning. And he brought in this bag and he had 15 books in it.
Wow.
And he goes through each of those books because they're sent to him every week. That's typical that he gets, 6 or more books maybe. And he goes through those, some of them very quickly and disqualifies them and, next.
Sorry.
And then some of them he spends a little bit more time on, but he spends several hours a week just figuring out which book it is. And then if he has an author on his show, he read that book.
Yes.
Like there's, does Jimmy Fallon read the book for the guy that's on the Tonight Show? I don't know about that. Right. But Brett reads every single word of it. He works super hard. Yeah. And that's what his show is. And he's a great interviewer. Yeah. And people are like, oh, you guys need to let the guests talk. The guests are furniture on our show. We love them. But that's not the kind of show it is.
Wow. That's what we are right now.
As you can tell by how much we've let our wives contribute to this episode.
Freaking footstool over here.
Charity, I keep looking at each other.
Right.
Jump right in.
Since Brett McKay was brought up, let's just do a little product review for him. Father's Day came out, and Scott got a new Art of Manliness t-shirt. It's what do they call that thing? The raglan? Is that what is it called?
It's got the raglan sleeves. They're like burgundy. The shirt's cream colored.
And the new logo. And I give it 5 stars. Washes well. The tail is longer than a normal shirt.
Tail. Yeah.
It's great. So go out there, check AOM. So artofmanliness.com.
It has a side seam. So many t-shirts now they're just a knitted tube that goes around your torso. Right. Well, his has a seam and it's tapered, so they fit great. It's got an extra long tail. So, when they wash, they typically get short.
Yep.
And even if his shrinks, and I don't think it's going to, it's a great shirt.
No, I've already washed it.
Brett's
dried
conscientious.
Yeah.
Good old Brett.
Yeah. He was texting me just now. He wanted to hang out. I was like, we're recording the podcast and hitting the road.
Right.
He's like, dang it. So yeah, he literally texted me while we were recording.
I've really enjoyed the guests that bring it.
Oh yeah.
That bring it, and we have more and more of those. And we've also done a couple of guest appearances. You've done some separate.
Yep.
You and I have done some on other podcasts separately, and we've done a couple as a team on some shows, and that's a whole lot of fun. I like talking to somebody else's crowd.
Me too. It's cool. Yeah. We're going to try to do some more of that this year because we think it's good. It's good, probably promotion for us. When we did the Distilled Man podcast a few months ago, something about the banter between the two of us and him. We say the same stuff. We say the same philosophy, but we say it in different ways. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was really good banter back and forth. So yeah, it's been good. Yeah,
I like talking to somebody else's audience. It seems lower stakes for me.
Right.
Like if I piss off their people, it's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he can get the emails. Yeah. It'll be good. Yeah, I've since gone on Kyle's show again, this Distilled Man, and talked about online great books.
Right?
Yeah, we had a great talk.
He's a good guy. We hung out in person in Atlanta at Menfluential. We're menfluencers. Is that what we are? We're menfluencers.
I prefer thought leader.
Thought leader.
Yeah, Brett Van Not on School Sucks.
Hashtag America's Dad.
Right. Yeah, Brett Van Not on School Sucks. We did a show about being a thought leader.
Yeah.
Very tongue-in-cheek. But maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, don't you just think a lot of this, the show has made me a lot better. You have thought through life philosophy, I think, since you were young. I know this. We don't have to get into details, but you found a bunch of the old papers you wrote when you were like a freshman in college, senior in high school, stuff like that, not very long ago. And you said, look at it. You took a bunch of pictures of the titles of the, You're like, I haven't changed a bit. Look, I'm exactly the same person that I was right? He's thought all the way through this stuff.
Reynolds has said on the show, he's like, since I've met you, you've really come into your own or whatever. You've said that on the show, and I'm like, but man,
you're like, listen, this is who I've been all along.
So here, let me see. Maybe I can read some of these, maybe not.
Yeah,
Trent.
some of them you can't read for sure. He just went through 6 of them he can't read.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I can't.
You can't read any of them.
I wrote one about Walden, Thoreau's Walden, and Ralph Waldo Emerson's self-reliance, and how that we had just gotten married, and I wrote about how the ideas from that book had formed my plan. So we were like 22, and I wrote this thing about that, and it's 12 pages, and I reread that thing and kind of stuck to the plan. Yeah. I'm gonna put that out I'm gonna put that essay out on the Online Great Books podcast or Online Great Books blog.
Yeah.
And we probably ought to do a show about it. It's pretty interesting.
That'd be cool
if I do say so myself.
Well, it's interesting. I've always been drawn to the sort of maybe deeper side of weightlifting. And then also I've been into theology for years. And we joke about that some, about I'm really into sort of systematic theology. But you've really brought the philosophy world into my life and helped me pursue that and sort of see the ribbon that binds all those things together. And it's been really interesting for me over the last several years.
Yeah, this thing's pretty good. I took one English class in college, and I wrote this for that class, and I turned it in. I got an A, and I thought, well, this professor here was excellent, and I had like 2 that were getting good.
Yeah.
And so I emailed the guy, and I
that's
said,
right, you told me this.
I scanned the paper and I sent it to him. I found him. He's in Memphis, and he's probably 80 now. And I said, hey, I wrote this. I want you to know it's 25 years hence, and I've done all the shit that's in there, And he's like, wow, I read that. He's like, I didn't remember it. There's been so many papers, but I did read it. And he's like, that's amazing. I said, come on the Online Great Books podcast. And I'd love to talk to you about what it was like to take the class from you, and we can talk about Thoreau and Emerson. He's like, nope.
Just because, what, you think he was scared?
He's done.
He's done. Yeah, he's done. He's done. What are we going to do in the next 200 episodes?
Wow.
Start our own cult? You think? No, I'm not.
Well, I've been working on it.
You've been working on it since those papers,
right?
Middle folder.
I got a mission statement written for it.
You're ready.
Yeah,
America's Dad.
Yeah.
So no, I don't know, man.
I want to continue to. Find those good recurring guests and just keep doing what we've done here in 2019. I think
I would like to be respectful of barbell history. I would like to get into that more. We haven't been able to do that yet. So reaching out to those guys like Marty Gallagher and Suggs and those guys that have this intimate knowledge of barbell history and where we've come from, I think we need to get that stuff down. There's some good articles out there. There's some decent books out there, but the kind of the new medium is podcasting, and I'd like to have those guys on the show and tell those stories of the great lifters of old and who sort of paved the way for us. And so I think it's one of my big goals here for coming up for the rest of 2019 and 2020 is to start telling those stories.
One of the bad things about guests is while they might be interesting people and they might be smart and they might have stuff to say, sometimes they're not good guests. I mean, sometimes they don't do good pod, and sometimes it's tough. So you're always at risk to some degree, when you have a new guest on.
Yeah, we've done a few that never made it.
Yeah.
Didn't make the cut. Guys like, you had a buddy come on, wasn't long ago. He tells some of the best stories I've ever heard.
Yep.
And he got on the podcast and it was like he just tried to clean. He's a good old Oklahoma boy. And all his stories have got a little bit colorful language in it. Not bad.
No.
But he got on the podcast and I think he just wasn't going to do it, and it just took all the juice out of his stories.
It was Ray the plumber. You guys have heard me talk about him. And Trent said he got red light fever. Like the red light came on and we were recording.
Yeah.
And he started telling the stories like his grandma was there and
he was telling it in Sunday school class or something.
But he's got great stories.
Yes. And then,
all kinds
literally stopped recording, got in his truck, drove to the buffeteria, and he told 3 stories that had us all rolling on the way there. I'm like, Ray, where was that on the podcast? So, yeah, sometimes you get that. And then sometimes, listen, there are times when, you have a guest that you kind of expect. You're like, man, I don't know about, we had Smiles Taylor on a few weeks ago. He's got CP. Like, man, it's audio only. We're not sure how good this is going to be. Man, he was great. And his coach Nick was great. And they're just gracious people, and both of them are super smart. And so you just never know until you get into it. Sometimes you turn on that red light and you record, and it's great. And sometimes it ain't. And by the way, we're the same things. Sometimes, listen, you and I have cut several over the past several weeks that Trent gets in there is like, nope.
Yeah, we've recorded 200, and we've probably thrown out 6.
I was going to say 10, 8, somewhere there. Not that many.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably single digits, but it happens occasionally. For sure.
Well, there's a rambling 200th episode. I don't know what else to do with this. Thank you guys so much for listening to us for 200 episodes and 2 years. We have done interviews. We've all cried on the show. Yeah. We've all gotten mad on the show. We've made music recommendations. We've had training stories from all kinds of people with cerebral palsy and some people who are afflicted with soyhood. We've had it all. We've had it all. It's been a great deal of fun. Been through producer changes, music changes, branding
business
changes,
name changes,
rebrandings,
and sold data storage.
Yeah, new homes.
Yeah, we'll scramble up a whole bunch more shit.
Pregnant? But we're gonna have any more kids?
Negative.
No.
Negative. Can't have kids.
Jared,
on the lawn, backyard.
Well, the crew is.
Is that your kids or is that a crew?
It's the crew.
Okay.
That's something
That
that's
does
going
not
to get cut out of my budget.
Sure.
That's Pepino. Jared Markle's wife is pregnant.
Is she really?
She is.
Congrats to the Markles.
Yeah. And Professor finished his chemotherapy last week.
It's been rough, man. We had him on the show. By the way, we're still going to interview him. The guy's still working hard, but he had some infection and some stuff he had to deal with, and so that's life. So we're going to see how he comes out of it. We're gonna do a second half of that interview of him trying to kick cancer's ass, and then we'll post that here in a few weeks once he sort of gets out of the depths of it.
Well, we will continue to try to bring you a little slice of life, and hopefully everybody will continue to enjoy the show. Remember, we always do these question and answer episodes. You can go to questions@barbell-logic.com and leave your question for us to answer in one of those shows.
That's it.
Do you ladies want people to follow you on Insta Squeeze?
Nah.
Whatever. Follow at charity_silverstrength, and you can follow at Rachel. You can find Rachel. She's on there.
My last post was like 3 months ago.
Maybe more importantly, or equally as important, go follow Fleo Shorts, and you can see all of their stuff. When they have those limited releases, like when they do the cornbread muffin shorts that we're going to get them to make, they'll announce all those limited releases on their Instagram channel. That's really the best place to find out about those things. Thanks to Fleo and all of you people who have listened, and we will see you in a couple days. Wrong. The United States is full. You can't come.